Today, we are unpacking how a small independent lab, Empero AI, just dropped an absolute powerhouse of a model that's going toe-to-toe with big tech. Look, if you follow the AI space, you know there is a lot of noise out there. We get bombarded with hype cycles, PR stunts, and vaporware that you can't even use. But this update, it's genuinely worth your time. We're talking about a highly capable model that runs completely locally, for free, natively understands images, and can hold an immense amount of data in its memory all at once without breaking a sweat. It is a massive leap forward for the open source community, and it fundamentally changes what independent developers have access to.
So here's our agenda for today. We'll meet Empero's Qwythos-27B, dive into its massive million-word memory, check out its vision and speed, explore some real-world business use cases, and finally, go over the fine print and next steps.
All right, Section 1. Meet Empero's Qwythos-27B.
To really get why this release is so impressive, you've got to know the team behind it. Empero AI is a laser-focused, independent lab making some serious waves with open-weight models. Qwythos-27B is basically the bigger, incredibly capable sibling to their hit 9 billion parameter model. For this release, they started with the Qwen 3.5-27B architecture as their base, and then ran it through a really rigorous training sequence. They pushed it through full parameter supervised fine-tuning to nail down structure and formatting, then direct preference optimization so it actually knows what a high-quality answer looks like, and capped it off with ESFT. Now, doing a full parameter fine-tune on a 27 billion parameter model is brutally resource-intensive. Most small labs would just take shortcuts to save on compute costs. Not Empero. They refused to cut corners, meaning every single capability from that base model was kept perfectly intact.
Which brings us to Section 2, a million-word memory. Over 1 million tokens. For an open-weight release, hitting a context window this massive is just a wild technical achievement. They pulled this off using a technique called yarn scaling. Without getting totally bogged down in the math, yarn scaling essentially stretches the model's positional embeddings. It basically tricks the neural network into handling incredibly long sequences of text without losing its mind or degrading the output quality. The result? A model that stays perfectly coherent even when you just flood it with an absolute mountain of data.
To put that million tokens into perspective, it's practically like holding an entire library in its head all at once. We've all been there, right? You're using an AI and it completely forgets the instructions you gave it just 3 prompts ago. It's incredibly frustrating and completely derails your workflow. But with a context window this big, that problem vanishes. You can hand it hundreds of pages of meeting notes, your company's whole code base, or literally every customer conversation you've ever had, and it looks at all of it simultaneously. It remembers all those microscopic details and gives you a flawless, fully context-aware answer.
Let's move on to Section 3, vision and speed.
Because Empero kept the full vision tower totally intact during that intense training pipeline, this model doesn't just read giant walls of text. It can instantly pull meaning out of screenshots, complex charts, or even messy handwriting. Think about how much friction there is in manual data entry. Normally, you're stuck transcribing a chaotic whiteboard after a long meeting or typing out data points from a financial chart just to analyze them. Now, you just take a screenshot or snap a photo of that whiteboard, hand it directly to the model, and it spots the patterns and pulls the meaning instantly. You literally save hours of tedious manual work.
And it is incredibly fast. Standard models can act a bit like a turtle when generating text. They suffer from this bottleneck because they predict one single word, pause, think, and then predict the next one. It works, but it can be agonizingly slow. Qwythos-27B leaps ahead like lightning because it utilizes a native multi-token prediction head, or MTP. Instead of calculating one word at a time, it confidently predicts chunks of several words all at once. It's basically a highly accurate deep learning autocomplete. This speculative decoding saves a massive amount of inference time, giving you incredible speed without sacrificing any response quality.
This right here is what we call the rare trifecta: an MTP head, a vision tower, and a full context window. Usually when independent devs fine-tune a model this big, they have to make really painful compromises just to save on compute and memory. They'll strip out the vision tower, drop the MTP head, or slash the context window to a fraction of its size. Getting all three to work in perfect harmony without breaking the model is incredibly rare in the open-weight community. Empero didn't compromise, giving us a tool that's smart, fast, and wonderfully versatile.
Okay, Section 4. Business use cases. Let's see how you can actually apply this. Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Say you are a social media manager. It's Monday morning and it's time for the dreaded weekly analytics review. Instead of endless scrolling and manually copying data into a spreadsheet, you just feed the model 20 of your top posts all at once, including the attached images and engagement metrics. Because of that massive context window and intact vision tower, it digests a month's worth of content planning in seconds. It tells you exactly what topics resonated most with your audience and helps you instantly draft clear, perfectly tailored replies to common customer questions. It's a complete game changer for a daily workflow.
Finally, Section 5, the fine print and next steps.
First up, the license. Qwythos-27B runs on the Open Apache 2.0 license. If you are tired of the restrictive licenses big tech often pushes, where things are gated behind non-commercial use only clauses or massive enterprise fees, this is a breath of fresh air. It means anyone can download this model, use it in a private business, integrate it into a commercial product, and even make money from it completely freely. There are no surprise usage caps hiding in the background. It is absolute freedom to build exactly what you want.
Now, you do need a quick heads up on safety. Empero explicitly calls this an uncensored model. Unlike commercial models from major corporations that heavily filter their outputs right out of the box, this gives you raw, unfiltered power. It has far fewer default guardrails. What this means in practice is that if you're building a customer-facing product, the responsibility is entirely on you to build in the safety nets. You have to add your own application-level safety controls, like secondary moderation endpoints or strict system prompts, to make sure the model behaves exactly how you want it to in public.
Also, keep in mind, this current release is a version 1 pre-RL checkpoint. This is completely normal for open-weight releases. It just means the model hasn't gone through its final reinforcement learning polish yet. That final RLHF step is what usually makes a model a bit more chatty, agreeable, and precise with highly specific formatting instructions. So while this version 1 is brilliantly capable and ready to deploy right now, you can absolutely expect an even sharper, more refined version 2 in the near future.
And looking at Empero's roadmap, they are moving fast. They already have a specialized terminal coding agent called Abacus in the works. Even more exciting, they are training a small in-house mixture of experts model named Claire. MOE models are insanely efficient because they route queries to specialized subnetworks, saving a ton of compute while radically boosting intelligence. Seeing an independent lab successfully building an MOE model is super ambitious, and it definitely makes Empero AI a vital team to watch in the open source space.
Which brings us to our final thought. Looking at everything Qwythos-27B brings to the table, it forces us to ask, if a small, independent lab can deliver a 1 million token memory, native vision, and multi-token prediction entirely for free, how soon until the gap between open source and big tech completely disappears? We are seeing definitive proof of how incredibly fast this community is moving, empowering individuals with tools that would have required a massive corporate budget just a year ago. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you leave today feeling inspired by the incredible capabilities now freely available at your fingertips.